All right, time for a little college football. Week 12, we got one Friday game, and then it looks like about 8 games for Saturday. Is that right, Aaron? I'm kind of digging this like 8 to 10 game slate for every weekend.
Yeah,
It's a lot more
yeah.
manageable, you know?
Just a
I
couple
like
games didn't
it.
make the cut. A couple games did not
Yeah.
make the cut. We
Yeah.
talked about Florida, Mississippi did not
I
make
was
the
surprised.
cut.
Yeah. I was surprised.
Borderline games. A lot of borderline games this week. Ron.
Borderline games. Yeah. Trying to decide if I want to talk about that tweet that I saw.
Yeah, what is this tweet?
So this is like a lot of.
Did you save the tweet yet?
I did. Yeah. I went to the bookmarks. I'm like, where is the bookmarks?
Do we need to review on Twitter how you go find it or?
So I just saved this one, but this has been making rounds. We kind of briefly talked about it last week where, does Notre Dame belong in the top 10 over Miami, et cetera, et cetera. So
Are we still talking about that? I thought that was like 3 weeks ago we put that
No. He wants to talk about someone commenting on our takes on the U, I think.
Well,
on our takes? Or just random
not
guy?
this one. Yeah, just a random tweet, but this has been blowing up and some players have been sharing as well, some NFL guys. But this guy says Texas A&M could make the SEC championship game without playing Ole Miss, Bama, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Vandy.
Okay.
Georgia Tech could make the ACC title game without playing Miami, Louisville, Virginia, SMU, and Duke. And Ohio State can make the Big Ten title game without playing Oregon, Indiana, Iowa, or USC.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for pointing out that in 16-team conferences, it's tough to play all other 15 teams in my conference in a 12-game schedule.
Yeah, these schedules are already set up years in advance. It's not like, oh, these guys are top 25. Let's avoid them this year.
But a lot of people are saying like it's time to change the scheduling because this is not a really good way to determine a champion, especially if you can sneak into a championship game and avoid playing some of the better teams in your conference.
Yeah, it's a fair call.
What does it have to do with Miami?
This has nothing to do with Miami. This is just about like teams in contention. Now you guys are riled up for a Miami take.
I am riled up, man.
I'm not saying anything in Miami, but there's a reason Aaron and I, when we're going through schools, when you're going through like, hey, what's the schedule look like? And you can say something about Texas A&M. They have who have they played? Well, like, okay, Bama, they got the raw end of the deal, but they freaking beat them everybody. So if Bama's had to play all the tough teams in the SEC as they've gone through, but that's just the way kind of it shook out. But there's only the SEC and Big Ten to blame for this because, hey, you got rid of conferences or divisions within the conference. You have an unbalanced schedule, and you just could play whoever you play. There's some rivalry stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, that's just the way it is. And then you allow these teams to play three cream puff games a year because the SEC schedule is hard or whatever schedule is hard. So, I mean, that's the nature of college football.
Yes, I do believe that is changing to a degree, at least in the big. I know the SEC is going to 9 conference games next year, I do believe, right? I think that starts in 2026. The Big Ten is already at 9 conference games, or are they at 8 and going to 9 as well? I'm not sure on that, but I think the Big Ten, not sure about the SEC. I think the Big Ten is getting rid of, like Jaeson just mentioned, the cream puff games to where you have to play your 9 conference games and at least 2 out of conference games against Power 4 conferences. So that would only give you 1 cream puff game instead of 2 or 3. I mean, obviously, Mississippi just played the Citadel last week.
Oh, people are not happy that they went up in rankings.
Texas A&M has Samford coming up after this game of South Carolina before they play Texas. We always know Georgia and Alabama always used to schedule like the Citadel and all those teams before. It's a classic before the rivalry game, the Iron Bowl, the Georgia Tech. They play a cream puff. So that it's been going on forever. This is nothing new.
Yeah, just what you're going to get. I mean, before when it was like, hey, it was real the Big Ten and you only had 10 teams in the conference. And then even then they didn't play the other 9 teams. There was still like loopholes in the schedule when you're going through there. And then the other thing is for all these guys, okay, you list all that, 12 teams make the playoff. So even beforehand, it's not like, you have this schedule and you need to go undefeated where it's at. Hey, you're going to get a 1-2 loss team that has its ability to get into a playoff of 12 to potentially go win the national championship. Because a year ago, Ohio State wins the national championship. In any other system, Ohio State was done. They don't win that national championship last year because they were able to go through and run the table through the gauntlet and win the championship, where any other system, they wouldn't have been in the Final Four. They wouldn't have been in the Final Two of the BCS era. So I think the playoff can expose you. You could talk about Indiana. That we said it all last year with Indiana. They only played one tough game and they lost it, but they got into the playoff and then they lost to Notre Dame.
I don't remember the game against Notre Dame. What happened? Like, how'd it go?
Notre Dame trashed them. They trashed them.
What was the score? What was the score in that game?
No one remembers.
It was bad. They beat them bad. All I remember is Jeremiah Love first carry of the game was like 95 yards for a touchdown. They never looked back from there.
Nice.
It was that, and it was the perfect setting to why we want like college playoff football in December in like home sites, because the atmosphere was just like, it was cold. I think there might have been a little snow on the ground. Like the atmosphere, it wasn't like a neutral site thing in some like NFL stadium to take all the wind out of it. Like it was a real college experience. And I think that stuff was like real playoff stuff versus the, what we get when we get to the Orange Bowl and Sugar Bowl and all that stuff.
Nice. Before we get into the games, just want to mention that I got the New Jersey Devils on playing against Jason's Chicago Blackhawks, and it's really exciting, man. 3-3, 40 seconds left in the game. It's been pretty. I think it's like the earliest in the season I've watched any hockey. Really, I watched a few Red Wings games already.
Let's be honest, Rome. That's all you can watch since you ain't got ESPN on YouTube. So
100%.
You're stuck to TNT.
100%. Well, I put on Roadhouse earlier in the background. The original one.
The new one.
I still haven't seen it.
Okay.
I know it's on Amazon Prime. It just doesn't look good. I don't know.
I actually liked it.
Yeah, Jason, do you like it?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, we'll have to watch it, and we'll do like a movie pod on that. All right, getting to Week 12 college football games of the week. Starting off with Friday night, Clemson at Louisville. Aaron.
Well, Rome, I mean, you started this college show talking about this tweet from Miami. I still haven't heard it, so I still don't know what it's about. But you're talking about Louisville. We're talking about the ACC, I guess, right? Nobody plays anybody in the ACC, right? Georgia Tech's not playing anybody. Louisville's not playing anybody. Miami's not playing anybody. Oh, wait, they played Louisville and got beat at home. So I don't know what the hell their bitch-ass fans are talking about. But Clemson here, +3, coming off that tremendous victory over Florida State, if you want to call it that. I mean, Dabo got back in the win column, not saying much. They didn't look very good in that game. Louisville coming off that shocking 3-touchdown favorite loss against Cal. I mean, I've been building Cal up all year. Finally, they delivered for me on a Saturday. Unfortunately, they weren't on the games of the week or the upset watch, but go Cal. I like Louisville to bounce back here at home, Rome. -3.
Wow.
I just don't like Clemson. I mean, defensively, they're not very good. Florida State should have won that game. I'm going to be honest. I mean, they had a ton of penalties, dropped at least 2 touchdowns that they should have easily caught. I think Louisville bounces back at home. I mean, I keep hearing Jeff Brahms being mentioned as possible LSU coach, that they may go out and try to get him. He's a Louisville, Kentucky guy, coach there, played there. Tough for him to leave there. That's his alma mater. So I like Louisville to bounce back. I think they're still in the mix for the ACC title game. They got to get a win here. I like them here at home against Clemson.
Saturday to kick things off.
I'm curious what Jason likes, because I know he's backed Clemson a lot of times this year, and they've covered for him every week. So I'm curious what his thoughts is on Clemson.
You have had a lot of Clemson games on Games of the Week. I was looking back. I'm like, why is
I mean,
every week almost.
They've been pretty good for us this year.
They've been good for us, and I think there's some spots to take them. I think with North Carolina was like the one I think I targeted the most. I think the week after that, and Boston College was there. I'm not as confident as Aaron is in Louisville here, and I was looking at, he mentioned the defense of Clemson, which I agree, not great, but the offense and what Clemson's able to do, I think it's there. Even in their losses to SMU and Duke, this Clemson team can score points, and so. Louisville, you mentioned what their wins are. Beating Miami was probably the big one. Boston College, not a great team. Virginia Tech, and then the loss to Cal. I know Aaron's high on them, but you're a loss at home to Cal, with Cal flying across the country. We talk a lot of travel on this show.
Was Louisville looking ahead? Were they looking ahead to Clemson? Was that a look ahead game?
Yeah, and when you're giving me Clemson points here, I mean that's where I kind of go. I don't know where it turns into a shootout. I think Clemson might have the better offense in here. I don't discount Aaron Singh and the defense, but I'm not loving it. I don't think I'll take it anywhere. But if you're asking me to choose, Aaron, I'd take Clemson +3.
Right. All right. I mean, look, Jaeson's due for a bounce back in college football. He is due for a bounce back. He's had a couple of rough weeks.
It's funny you mentioned it's funny you mentioned that, because you might want to take what I say and just fade me all the way in college.
That's what I'm saying. I think this might be a good game to fade him on. I'm gonna bounce back with Louisville here. I think Louisville might have been looking ahead. They had to win at Pittsburgh, which is looking better now. They play Jaeson's Notre Dame. That's on the games of the week here to watch.
Nice.
Short week. It's a Friday. ACC. Anything can happen. Let's see if Louisville can get back in the win column. I'm going to take them here -3. I like them.
I like them. All right. On to Saturday, Texas and Georgia.
Yeah, big game here, man, in the SEC. I mean, Texas, hey, the playoffs are right in front of them. Win this game, win against Texas A&M, you're going to the playoff. It's really that simple for me. Georgia kind of righted the ship, blowing out Mississippi State last week. Texas off a bye. Rome, I know you said you like Texas early in the week +6. I like Texas here +6 as well. I think this is gonna be a competitive game. It's gonna be tough to win at Georgia, but Georgia's just not the same team. I know Jason's alluded to it multiple times. They don't have the depth in the second and third team as they had before. Texas, I think first team can match up well with them. It's gonna be a close game. I'm gonna take Texas here +6 on the road at Georgia.
Georgia, I know they're ranked. What are they ranked now?
5? Are they 5?
Number 5. Yep.
Yeah, they've had a lot of close games and a lot of good luck. I've been waiting for them to get knocked down, but yeah, really cool. Arizona, Cincinnati.
Arizona, Cincinnati. I've been high on Cincinnati all year, Rome. I've been riding them all year. They cost me against Utah.
Yeah,
that was just whatever. It happens. Arizona's been playing well. But I got a couple totals I like this week. I'm going over 56. Cincinnati can score. Arizona can score. I checked the weather. It's going to be good weather. No snow, no rain. I think both teams get in the 30s here. This can go over 60. Take over 56 in Arizona, Cincinnati.
Okay, nice. South Florida against Navy.
Yeah, well, Navy was undefeated until they ran into Jaeson's Notre Dame. And they're not undefeated anymore. South Florida looks like they're in the prime time spot to get in the playoff if they can win out as the group of 4 team. South Florida can score points. We know that. Navy can't stop teams from scoring. We saw that last week against Notre Dame. I like South Florida here -10.5. I think they're just going to be too much offensively for Navy. They're going to score. They're going to score a lot of points. I like South Florida to cover 10.5 here against Navy.
Did this go up once Navy got blown out by Notre Dame? This seems like a pretty big spread, actually. I feel like it should be more like 6-7.
I'd have to look. I think I might have seen it at 8.5 earlier,
yeah.
Monday or Sunday. I just don't remember off the top of my head, but I like South Florida here.
Virginia, Duke.
Yeah, 2 teams coming off of disappointing losses, right? Virginia was basically in the driver's seat in the ACC. They lost their quarterback, Chandler Morris, early in that game against Wake Forest, and ended up losing. Wake Forest was coming off a disappointing performance in which they got blown out by Florida State. Who knows how that happens? The ACC is like the NFL. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in that league. Like, one team can look bad the next week, it look great the next week. Duke won at Clemson, then went and played your guy Jim Moore at Rome at UConn. UConn, we're talking UConn football. They got upset as a 9-point favorite last week. I don't know if Chandler Morris is playing this week. He was in the concussion protocol. I haven't really heard if he's going to get cleared or not. But I like Duke to bounce back here, -4. I'm taking them at home. Virginia, without their quarterback, they're not very good offensively without him. Defensively, you can score on Virginia. I like Duke here to put up a lot of points. I'm taking Duke here -4 at home.
Notre Dame against Pittsburgh.
I'll let Jaeson give a side on this game, but again, I'm going with another total. Check the weather there. No rain, no snow, maybe a little bit of in the morning, maybe a few showers here and there, but I'm going over 55.5. Notre Dame can score points. I expect them to score again here. There's no reason they shouldn't get 35, 38 points against Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh offensively can score as well. Feels like a 38-24 type game. I'm going over 55.5. The spread when we talked Monday was at 10.5. I said Notre Dame would win by at least 10. It's at the 12.5. I'd like to get Jason's take because he's been pretty good on picking Notre Dame sides this year, what he likes in this game.
Yeah, what's up, Jason?
Yeah, this one just feels a little bit too big for me at 12.5. Notre Dame, I think even against these teams that have been probably less than your world beaters that they've played to the mid game, they've kept teams around in the first half, and then they just put full throttle in the second half, and generally it's where they get these big markups. I don't know if they can do that against Pitt in this game, where Pitt can score as well too. Because when you look at Notre Dame, like, they've held some subpar offenses to 10 points for like 2-3 weeks in a row. Pitt's not that. This is a pretty good offense. So I think Notre Dame's going to score. Carr's turning into probably your early front runner for the Heisman next season, as he's like probably one of the best freshmen that we've seen in a long time. He's getting a lot of praise. Obviously, Jeremiah Love, I talked to you about his big plays. He'll probably have a huge run in this game. So there's just a lot to like in Notre Dame, but 12.5 just seems like a lot. And I think it'd be more, hey, if it was less than 10 or less, maybe, but 12.5 is a 2-touchdown win seems like a lot for a Notre Dame team that doesn't always come out great in the first half. The defense is better, but it's not as good of a secondary as we had last year that went to the national championship.
I agree spot on with that. I mean, I think 12.5 is a lot to lay here. That's why I'm taking the over, Rome. I think both teams can score. Pittsburgh's got a running freshman quarterback themselves. I think it's a high-scoring game. The weather looks good. Points are going to be at a premium, and they're going to both score. I like the over 55.5 here.
Yeah, I realized I had the rankings for Notre Dame and Pittsburgh listed twice for the Virginia and Duke game. That's why I said top 25 matchup, but it was for the Notre Dame game instead. Okay, Oklahoma, Alabama.
Big game. Oklahoma coming off a bye. After that win against Tennessee, you got Alabama beating on LSU. Brian Kelly, less LSU. Was 7 points when we talked about it on Monday, down to 6 now. 46 is the total. I think it was at 44 at one time.
Where at?
It's at Alabama.
Tuscaloosa? Oh.
Oklahoma's got a really good defense. I mean, they're just as good defensively, if not better than LSU. Offensively, we know they're better as well. Alabama missed some big plays in that game. They could have really blown out LSU. Ty Simpson missed some big throws that could have led to some big touchdowns. This is a tough game really to choose. I've been going back and forth, but I'm going to ride with Oklahoma +6. Not really confident in it, but I think defensively they can play well. I think offensively they'll have some trick plays up their sleeve with 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Alabama, similar to Georgia, has been playing all these tough games. I think it's going to be another grind-out game. I'm going to ride Oklahoma plus the points. Give me them at Tuscaloosa.
Utah, Baylor.
Both teams coming off a bye. Utah looked great the last time we saw them against Cincinnati. Is Utah in the top 25, Rome? Are they in the college football ranking top 25 or AP poll top 25?
13.
I'm pinning Utah on upset alert this week, Rome.
I got 15.
13, 15, no matter what, they're top 25. I'm pinning Utah on upset alert. I think Baylor is a sneaky team that's kind of underachieved. They play up to their competition. They'll be up for this game. I like Baylor +8. Don't be surprised if Baylor upsets Utah outright in Waco.
Dude, I think I just updated all the teams on the graphic and I didn't change any of the rankings. Like, wait a minute, this is all jacked up. All right, Baylor +8. I kind of like that.
All right.
You
got 3 picks this week, Rome. So I mean, you might want to take one of mine, fade 2, or whatever you want to do.
I think I will take the Texas one.
I do like that one. It will be part of the LOCK. We'll say that
Archie
part later.
Manning's trying to find his groove. I don't know
about all that, but
Iowa, USC.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa, USC traveling here. I mean, the guy that's really had a good feel on USC all year has been Jaeson too. I mean, he's been on USC as far as taking them, going against them. So I'm interested on his take on this game. But Iowa's traveling out west here, coming off that game against Oregon. USC did not look great against Northwestern. It was a game, I mean, they did cover, but, they pulled some shenanigans. Let's be honest, we talked about it on the recap Sunday. I'm going to ride USC -6.5. I think offensively they can score points. The weather's going to be good. Well, we are supposed to get some rain, so I'm not sure. Are we getting rain here Saturday night, Jason? Do you know? I know we got some rain throughout the weekend.
It's supposed to be, I believe, raining all weekend.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I might go Iowa here because I know Iowa can play in the rain. I'm not sure about this Lincoln Riley team. So, you know what? I'm going to go then Iowa. Give me Iowa +6.5 in the rain. Make it a Mudfest game. They'll backdoor cover this one. You know what? Yeah. No, give me USC. Screw it. I'm going USC, Rome. I think the weather will be okay. Just give me USC.
Dude, I just
give me USC. I don't care what the weather is. Give me USC.
Let's see, Iowa. I kind of want to review what they've been doing so far this season because I've kind of just forgot.
I mean, their last win last week against Oregon. I mean, I know I had Oregon in our circuit thing. That was a big miss for me. So
I liked Oregon as well.
Yeah, so that was one that kind of surprised me but it was different elements. I think there in Iowa at that time. Their loss to Indiana, they kept that close, and Indiana's been one of the best teams in college. So there's something sneaky about Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, them losing to Iowa State earlier in the year was probably the bigger surprise at that time. They eke out that win versus Penn State, dominate some bad Wisconsin and Minnesota teams. I agree with Aaron, though. I still like USC. I think that game against Oregon last week was like, hey, that's the biggest game of the year because they're getting the undefeated, Big Ten champs from last year coming into Iowa, and everything's going there. Now that's a huge emotional game. Now you got to go to the West Coast. I think it's a very talented USC team. I don't know what number their punter is going to be wearing, but I'm sure they got something else up their sleeve in that game. But yeah, I regardless of the weather, I think you like USC in this game.
I'm going to agree with that. Give me USC.
All right. Any other bonus games?
Yeah, I mean, I have a bonus game that I really like a lot, Rome, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like LSU at home this week against Arkansas. First game at home without Brian Kelly. It's 5.5 to spread. I like LSU here. Defensively, they'll be able to shut down Arkansas. Are they making a switch at quarterback? Or are they going to start the guy and bench?
I've not heard about that.
Okay, because
I wasn't sure Brian Kelly was still coaching this because they were talking.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah,
sure if he's really fired or not.
Yeah.
That is turning ugly.
Someone threw out there if he just pulls the straight George Costanza and just shows up to work on Monday and said
he can.
They can't ask for him. They said he's not fired.
I'm not fired, right? Like I'm here. Like I'm taking over.
He still got his parking spot.
I'm still getting paid.
LSU is not looking good in this.
Hey, that's what Brom. That's what happens when you don't have the money to buy out a coach, and you're praying that he takes a buyout, and he just says, "Go screw yourself."
Yeah, they offered him $20 million first. He's like, no. Then they go back and offer him $30 million. By the way, he's willing to take less, but I'm pretty sure it's like probably like a $5 million discount, not a 50% discount. And they're just trying to.
Well, they offered him They offered him a lump sum right there, 25 mil.
Yeah.
And then they offered him 30 mil in 15 million increments.
Yeah.
And he said no. And then I guess LSU said, well, guess what? You're not fired. So maybe we'll see him on the sideline here. Brian Kelly, Bobby Petrino on the sideline. What could be better on a Saturday in the SEC? But I do like LSU -5.5 in that game.
Okay, -5.5. Locks of the week.
Locks of the week, Rome, you hinted at it. I like Texas +6. I like Arizona, Cincinnati over 56.
I do like that one.
And I like Notre Dame, Pittsburgh over 55.5.
Nice.
So, I mean, I know we're pretty much good for 2 for 1. So hopefully we can do a little something better, but we'll see.
I didn't check out the latest college football playoff rankings. I forgot yesterday was Tuesday. Yeah, I just forgot. I was checking out a restaurant, turned into tasting like 20 different wines. And I haven't been feeling good today.
Like you tasted on 20 different wines, Rome?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why you're not feeling well. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Any comments from the new college football playoff rankings? Anything? No?
I was trying to find the new one where it was at. So Miami's in, right, Aaron? They're at 11 right now.
They were the 11 seed.
They're 11 seeds, so we can
Yeah, I mean they're still not. Well, they're not in the ACC title game. Obviously, I think that's still what Georgia Tech versus Virginia, is it?
Which maybe works out in their favor.
I see them ranked 15 on the rankings.
Yeah, but that's not the college ranking is different than the ranking regular AP or coaches poll.
No, yeah, I'm on the college football playoff rankings.
So I think
11. The actual bracket themselves, they have them as the 11 seed.
Yeah.
So you have 11.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have Georgia versus South Florida, Notre Dame versus Oregon, Texas Tech versus Miami, Ole Miss, Texas, and then buys you have Bama, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana. So I'm pretty sure those 4 went unchanged. So I mean, you're sitting at what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SEC schools out of this right now, which they probably want 8 in if it was up to them in the SEC.
Okay.
Yeah, so
because the seating's different.
Yeah, Miami is 15th, but they are the highest ACC team, so that's why they get the 11th seed.
Yeah,
but I do believe right now it'd be Georgia Tech versus Virginia in the ACC title game because those are the only teams with 1 conference loss. Miami has 2.
Yeah, so I guess it'll be kind of interesting as you look into, the obviously these games will be coming up here, where a lot of SEC teams playing each other down the stretch. Where does Bama look into? I mean, Bama can, I don't want to say lock it in here, but this is like their last like real tough game. Then they play I think they play Eastern Illinois and then finish with a bad Auburn right? team that fired their coach. So this is but Bama can go out and just really secure themselves the SEC championship game, pretty much locks them in there. And I think we obviously know what Texas has to do versus Texas A&M. So I guess that ACC race will be interesting because does Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pitt, there's a lot of these games down the stretch and where they're lining up from a conference record. And so if Miami holds set at this point, doesn't play in the ACC championship game, they remain the highest seed ACC team. Does that play in their favor and the ACC ends up with 2 teams again? That'd be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still think the ACC is going to get 1 team because Georgia Tech still has Georgia. Really, I mean, win or lose, they got to win the rest of their games in the ACC, right? I think Virginia's going to lose this week, which kind of pits them on the back burner. Louisville has 2 conference losses, I do believe, because they lost to Cal, and I'm trying to remember who else beat them. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but they had the tiebreaker win over. Okay, so it gets interesting. I mean, it gets interesting how all those tiebreakers kind of play out. Does it go to college ranking or not? Because Louisville obviously would have a tiebreaker over Miami because they beat them. Virginia with 2 losses would have a tiebreaker over Louisville because they beat them. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe Miami does get into the ACC title game. So does Georgia Tech really? Does Georgia Tech not have to really beat Georgia and then just kind of save all their eggs in a basket for either Miami, Virginia, or Louisville in that 1 game when all ACC gets in?
Well, this Texas Georgia game might mean a ton because Georgia wins. I think they probably lock up their place. They may lock up their place in there. If they beat Georgia Tech, they may not have to play in the SEC championship game. But Texas loses, they're probably out because I don't know if they're going to have enough at 7-3 to get in unless they beat Texas A&M somehow. But yeah, there's a lot of things with the SEC that will probably shake up. Do they get 5 teams in or do they only get 4 in? I think it'll be tough.
Well,
you hear what their head guy said today or the other day?
They won 8, 9 teams.
Yeah, he the commissioner. Well, that's what a commissioner does, right?
He's like, we should. I forgot how he said it, but they envision if there should be at least 8 or 9 teams in the playoffs. So
look, college football playoffs going to eventually go to 14, 16 teams. I think that's the only holdup right now from it going to 14 is right because the SEC and the Big Ten want guaranteed 5 teams in. Is that what kind of the holdup is?
Probably, because I mean they're the ones with the money and this stuff, and I think we talked about it last time. There'll be another round of college realignment here at a certain point where the SEC and the Big Ten are going to steal a couple of those big schools. Then we're talking like, do you get to like 2 20-team conferences, and then they each got 6 teams coming out, and they have these mega conferences with, do they bring divisions back, and then you got some sort of like 2 10-team divisions where you play 9 games, everyone in your division and stuff like that. I mean, there's probably a lot to do, but I think the imbalanced scheduling we talked about at the top of this show and what that can do. But those 2 conferences particularly, they have the financial backing, they have the media rights power, because the ACC's got a terrible media rights deal. The Big 12 deal isn't terrible, but they're kind of like this like 1B conference.
They're the little brother. They're the little brother, the Big 12 and the ACC. Yeah. But yeah, to what Jason said, the ACC by 2030 realignment's going to happen again, because Florida State, Clemson, Miami, they're all going to get out of the ACC. Where they all end up, we'll see. I think one Florida school will end up in the Big 10, one will end up in the SEC. Whether it's Miami or Florida State, we'll see. Clemson probably goes to the SEC, but we'll see what happens.
Right.
Notre Dame, they're the big wild card here. Will they join a conference by 2030? My guess is yes. They'll join, the power conference, or the, Super League as we call it. I think another thing to keep an eye on, is USC. Can USC win out? I know they got Oregon on their schedule. They've got, like we just talked about, Iowa. Their only losses were against Notre Dame and that tough loss against Illinois. If USC can win out, and you talked about the SEC and Texas, Oklahoma slip up, I think SC gets in the playoff over one of those 2 schools. The Big Ten will have the leverage of saying, we got 2 losses. Your bang schools have 3. I think SC's the wild card that could sneak into the playoff if they can win out.
Okay.
And that's a big if they can beat Rome's UCLA team.
That's a big if.
That could be for a playoff spot.
I'm actually kind of liking Iowa this week.
All right.
As I'm digging through the stats, but I don't want to.
I mean, if you want to put in your big 3, Rome, you can do it.
I'm not putting in my big 3. I'm not doing that. I'm going to dig into the analytics. It has to hit like a 70% on like some of the things. So, all right, man. Any final comments for week 12 college football?
Right. No, I mean, I'm curious how Texas shows up and how Arch Manning plays at Georgia. I mean, last year we saw what Georgia did to that team. They just dismantled them twice.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm really curious to see if Texas, coming off a bye, Sarkisian, can actually show up and present an offensive game plan that's worthwhile on the road, because it's hit and miss with that guy.
Dude, the truth, man. Their offense has been super hit or miss. I just don't get it. And
right, I'll do. The other game, Rome.
God damn it.
I like. I'll make it quick. It's Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame. I think they win by double digits here. But Pittsburgh, with this new quarterback, they've played well. They played confidently. Notre Dame's got to show up and play well, because if they kind of fall behind, like Jason said, and don't play a good first half, they could be in for a dogfight at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's really Notre Dame's last true challenge, I would say. They play Syracuse and at Stanford to end of the year, which are pretty much, layup games for them. So this is the big resume building. They're already slotted to make the playoff. They just got to win out. You stumble in this game, Notre Dame's done. And so they knew they had to go undefeated after they lost that Texas A&M. They've had some pretty impressive wins. They beat some good teams. They beat some bad teams. But this is a must. The must win for Notre Dame, because this is probably the hardest one that you can't rationalize. Notre Dame is 3 loss getting in the playoff, losing to Pitt. So they got to win this game, because it's the USC game and this game are the 2 big question marks on the remaining schedule after they lost to Texas A&M.
That's been the number one critique about Notre Dame. They lack as many signature wins as every other team in the playoff.
It's a fair call out, but I think for them, you want to talk about like going and playing hard opponents. Miami doesn't look as good, but early on, hey, the Notre Dame lost to 2 of the top 5 teams in the nation earlier in the year and bounced back and haven't lost since. I think the USC win, I think USC win, is the biggest signature win thus far. Last year you would have said beating Boise State is a solid win, even though they were at. Going into an SEC school, I know Arkansas ain't great, but they blew out Arkansas and got the coach fired. If the SEC, this is where you can't talk on both sides of your mouth when you go down into the South and play an SEC school. Like Notre Dame, you could say they're out of conference schedule. Like I know they're not in a conference, but like, hey, they went and scheduled Miami and Texas A&M and Arkansas. Like, it's tougher. I'm not going to say it's the easiest schedule or the hardest schedule, but you brought it up at the beginning, Rome, on the guys who are going to go undefeated or one loss that have played who within their own conference.
Look, I think Notre Dame's schedule's fine. They've lost 2 games by a total of 4 points. To A&M by 1, Miami by 3. Before we touch off Rome, I think another game to keep an eye on is South Carolina, Texas A&M. South Carolina's coming off a bye, getting 19.5 points. I love South Carolina plus 19.5 this weekend. I think they're going to put up a fight at Texas A&M. Texas A&M, early 9 a.m. kickoff after a tough game against Missouri. They're feeling good about themselves. I think Texas A&M is going to sleep through the first half and have to rally in the second half to win this game. So South Carolina plus 19.5 might be one of my top 2 plays as far as our group thing goes.
Dude, I like that one. I like that. All right. I'll do it. Week 12 in the books. Catch the full pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It looks like 75% of our listeners are on Apple Podcasts. What we've been getting for the past month. Getting a lot of traction on YouTube. I will get some clips out on the socials and be on the lookout for Lines with the Guys. That's what I titled it.
That's tomorrow.
Lines with the Guys.
Wow.
Tomorrow, which will be out on Friday. So I'll do it for us. Sources from the sofa. We are out.